Hey there, welcome back to day 5. If you haven't finished your automated email from yesterday or need a refresher on anything we've covered so far, you can always watch any of the prior lessons on replay or access the Build Everything user manual or resource library whenever you need to. Today we're going to help you start the build out of your first website. To do so, let's head over to Sites module in your main navigation and then click on the Create Site button. And we could either pick a system provided template or click on the Start from Scratch option. To expedite things and ensure you have a nice modern looking site layout right away, let's go ahead and choose the Template 1 Layout Bundle. If you want to preview what it'll look like, you can go ahead and click on the preview button or the image itself. And you'll see screenshots of that site design. And you can even click on it to go to more of a full screen and see what it's going to look like in a bigger view. And just so you understand, once you choose this layout, if you choose to apply it, it's then going to apply all your brand settings, your logo, your colors, your typography, and all the settings you did back in your organization's brand will be applied to this template. So let's go ahead and do that. So as you can see with the pop-up screen, we are got to fill out a couple things. First is we want to give it a site name. So it's always got to be a unique name if you have other sites. So I'm just going to change this just to template site number 12. If I want, I can put in a short description. And then I would choose which organization this belongs to. And now once I click Use Template, you're going to see that it's now not only created our site for us with 3 pages and the one menu and one layout already applied, it's also brought in our branding that we created, I believe in day 1, where we put in our colors, our logo, our fonts, and so on. So we're going to be able to actually go preview this once we publish it and see what it looks like. So let's just go ahead and do that. We're going to publish. That way it takes it out of the draft status. And now, if we go preview, we can see what this site looks like already. And we're going to kind of walk you through how to go through and update and custom and personalize everything so that you can have a nice site going right away. But pretty darn quickly, we were able to create this 3-page website because we imported one of the system provided templates. And of course, stay tuned because the Build Everything team is going to continue to add more template bundles into the system as time goes on. Let's also take a look at your site's dashboard or overview screen. This page gives you a snapshot and monitors the progress of what you have set up, including your brand, pages, forms, and more. You'll also see the setup checklist area that acts as your site's onboarding progress, including if you've completed the site's name configuration, tagline and description, SEO meta title and description, branding configuration such as your colors, logos, and fonts, the custom domain, although we're going to skip that for today because that's part of tomorrow's challenge, and if you've published one page. If any of these items are showing as incomplete, you can click on them, which will bring you to the proper area of your site's admin to work on and complete that task. But to help you get your site up and running, let's help you knock out each of those steps right now. Now that you've had a little tour of your dashboard, let's look at your site settings in the horizontal navigation bar, and we're going to go in and fill out some of the fields that you may need to do, such as the site's name. Again, it always should be an original name. You don't want it, can never have two with the same. The slug, which will be the website URL. So for example, it would be your site.buildeverything.com/ whatever you put into the slug. Your tagline, your description, which again helps with things like search engines. If you're ready to really go live, you want to move over the site visibility so it's publicly available. There is a section here for domains where you're going to add in a domain, but we're going to skip that for today because that's going to be the main task in tomorrow's challenge. You also can fill in your site's primary contact information, just the email and the phone numbers, which also does tie into things like the email forms on the site. From an SEO standpoint, you can fill in the meta title and description. The meta title is a short description to between 50 and 60 characters that appears when websites show up in search engine results. And then the meta description is a little bit more descriptive. You have about 150 to 160 characters to write a little bit more sentence paragraph format describing your site. And if you ever want to utilize things like Google Analytics or Metapix or anything like that, you can click on the Add Tracking button and then just copy and paste in the code those sites provide you. And then once you're done making all of these changes, of course, you want to click the Save All Changes button. That way it not only saves your work, but also publishes these updates to your site. And that way it's better optimized for things like search engines and our platform. For today's challenge, let's start from the Pages tab by clicking on the gear icon for the template homepage option. That'll pop up the screen, and we can now either update or fill in any of the appropriate information, such as the page's title, its URL slug, which will be the yoursite.buildeverything.com / whatever you want the page's URL to be. And by the way, if you want this to be the home page, you can either type in the word home or just delete it and leave it blank. An excerpt, kind of a description of what the page is going to be about. If you want, you can choose the page layout, such as some of the templates that either we've provided to you or that you've created yourself. The navigation order, which doesn't affect the navigation on your website. This is the order of the pages in priority you want search engines like Google and AI sites to analyze your site in. Of course, you can toggle this button if you want to publish the page and make it public. Also, if you want to show it in your navigation bar. We can also, under SEO settings, create a meta title and description, which are basically the same instructions we did a moment ago for the overall site settings, but now we're doing it on the page level. If you want, you can also include a preview image and then create some tags to help you organize this page. Once you've completed filling everything in, you would click on the Update Page button, and that would send you back to the main screen of Pages. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to play with one of the provided pages and help you go in and edit and make it your own. Let's start by clicking on the pencil icon for the template homepage. Once we get there, we're going to let the page load, and we're going to click into this container, which is a text and headline field. And we're going to click on the word your name, and we're just going to simply replace it with what your name actually is. Then, under this text that's really just placeholder text, we're going to just highlight that and either type or copy and paste in something like your bio. Next, we're going to click on this container over on the left that has a placeholder for a video. And as you can see, the settings tab is now asking us whether we want to just copy and paste in a link of a video from somewhere like YouTube or Vimeo, or do we want to upload one or get one from our own asset library. So we're going to go ahead and select that. Then we're going to click on the Select from Assets button. And here are some of the videos that are in my account. So we're just going to grab this video right here and add it in. Of course, that's not me, that's Jeff Long. Then we're going to come down, go to another row. And if I wanted to click and change this title, I could easily do so. But let's also take this grid layout, which has multiple columns, and we're going to select in and start working on that. And by the way, if you want to add in a row, that is just one column across, we'd go to Add, and we would choose Container. That's what this one is right here. This is my specialties. But if I want to make a multi-column row, such as this, you would choose Grid Layout. We'll show you how to do that in just a moment. But let's click into this first column, click on the image field, and we're going to go in and select a picture. Now, we can do different things, like, for example, click on this picture, and let's say we wanted to add a border to it. And we'll choose the color for it. Let's add a radius. We can even do things like a full circle one. Okay, now we have a profile picture of this person. I can also go in and, let's say, resize this so it fits a little bit better into that space. Let's make it a maximum of 200 pixels in its width. Okay, now we have a nice clean profile picture. Click on Specialty 1 and say exciting and write some text to support that. Now I can come over to number 2, click on its image, Grab a picture of somebody else. So let's just say we're going to choose our friend John here. And again, we can come in and do some of the exact same effects. Let's give it a border. Let's give it a radius of a circle. And we'll reduce his size again to 200 pixels so they're even. And again, I can repeat this process for number 3 and so on. Okay. Here's another example of a row. Again, this one was done as a grid because you can see it has 2 different columns in it. So let's just say, for example, we want to change out that picture. Again, we can just click on it and just browse and find a different picture we want there. Okay. Maybe I want to change the background of this container. I can just click on the container itself, okay, or the background. And now I can come here and look for different options such as putting in padding and all these different things. But also here's different options we can do for the background itself, such as do I want to change it to a different color, make it a gradient, throw an image in the background, such as the one up the top here. Okay, so let's just stay with solid colors, but we're going to change it to a different color. We're going to change it to that orange that's part of our brand. But now you can see I probably need to make a change or two. So let's highlight that text and make it a dark blue so it stands out over that orange background. And again, I can just go in here and keep working on each of these. And you always have the ability to add in more things. So for example, maybe I want to add in a picture into each one of these testimonials of why I'm so great. Okay, so for example, I can click on the add button, choose the image option, drag it into the spot that I want, and now I have a picture. And just same way I can have the ability to, let's say, make it 300 pixels wide is the max for that one, right? And I can always come in here and edit this text. Let's also make it centered instead of aligning to the left. I can come back to add. In the next one, just to show you this, I could say let's make the next one a video instead of a photo. There we go. Now we'll just select a video from our library just for speed. Okay, and there we have a nice properly sized video as well. So we can see actually we might want to go a little bit bigger to make this one more even. Oh, somewhere in between there. It looks like it's about 350. Boom, there we go. We have a pretty close to centered video there. And again, I can do the same thing to column 3, add in a picture, video, form, whatever it is I want there, and build out that. Okay. And by the way, while we're here, a couple things. First of all, if I go back to the main add tab over on the right here, we have other options that we haven't had time to cover in this video, such as reusable blocks, okay, which are basically pre-built out tools or content pieces that we're providing you can add into your designs very quickly. Think of them as mini templates. There's also advanced options, commerce, and navigation. So those aren't going to be covered in this, challenge video, but there's a lot of information on all of these things, again, in the Build Everything user manual. Some other things we're going to kind of talk about while we're here, okay? Other than the fact you can go in and you can edit, you can change fonts and colors and all these different things like we're showing you here, is you also have the ability, just in case you make a mistake, up at the top here, there is a little clock icon, which is what we call, so let's save this really quick. So this is where you can kind of go back into the history of your changes and say, let's back up to the changes I made 4 minutes ago. Now you can see some of the changes we made are undone. Okay, now our background's back to blue here. We only have one of these set up, not 3 of them, right? So anytime you think you make a mistake or whatever, you're not in trouble. One of the cool things, or another cool things that Build Everything does, is really make backup restore points of just about every time you're making changes to the site. Not just when you hit the save button, it is making incremental saves almost any time you're making any real change. So pretty easy to go in and back up. And by the way, one other thing just to kind of look at on that page is we've also included 2 different call to action buttons. At the top here, you have the contact me. But if we scroll down, what you're going to see is another call to action button for get my resource today. This is in the want my valuable resource section of the page. And this one is linking to another page that we provided you called the download resource page. Now the download resource page, if you're smart, what it's going to do is we're going to combine what we did in day 3 of creating a lead capture form and tying it into that page. And that way, as soon as your site launches, you have a nice, easy way to help you get leads coming into the site, a good lead capture source. So let's show you how we're going to do that. So let's go back to the pages area. And before we go into that download resource page, we're first going to go back to the form we created originally. So here is that lead capture form we created the other day. We're going to go in and we're going to edit it really quickly. Okay. We're going to go to the form submission settings tab. And from here, there's a button called download assets. See that in this navigation? And what we're going to do is we're going to select a file from our device that we want to give as some kind of a resource or giveaway, such as maybe a report you've created, a white paper, maybe it's your speaker reel video, whatever it might be. So let's just say this is my speaker reel video and I select it. If I click save, now when somebody fills out the form, they're going to be able to get to that video that I'm providing. Okay, pretty awesome. So now let's go back to our pages and our sites. Now we're going to the pages again. And here's the template download my resource page. So we're going to go into it and show you kind of what it looks like. So again, this is already pre-built part of your site right away, but I might want to come over here and fill in the blanks of what are the benefits or reasons they want to fill out this form. And then over on the right, we're going to click on the form component and then select from the drop down the lead capture form that we created. And now that we've already set this up, right, as soon as somebody fills this out, it's going to help generate leads for us. I'm going to publish the form itself. I'm going to save it. I'm going to publish the page. There we go. And now we're just going to preview the site. Now, forms don't work in preview, by the way. That's why we're not able to see it. But if this were live, there would be the form over there that I could start filling out to get me to my lead. You've also got your contact page already set up. You can go in and edit that to add more info if you need to. Your home page is ready to go. So basically, without us doing much time and much work, we now have a pretty competent 3-page website that talks about you, gives people a contact page, how to get a hold of you, and also the download resource page to help you get leads. Now, if you want to go back to the pages, you always, of course, have the ability to add more pages to your site. So if I click on the Add Page button, I would just choose. Do I want to choose one of the existing templates, right, that the system provides you, or do I want to click Start from Scratch? And I would just repeat the exact same process I did of editing a page, but I would just have to fill in the blanks of what this page is going to be about, its title, its slug, its excerpt, and all these things. And then it would send me directly into the page editor where I can start dragging and dropping from the menu and start building out the page myself. Whenever you're done, or if you make any incremental updates to your live site, be sure to go back to the main dashboard and click on the Publish Changes button. Now, your site isn't just a pretty face, it's actually working for you 24/7. Always remember, you can watch these videos on replay or access the Build Everything user manual as often as you need to. And that has much more detailed instructions on just about everything. Tomorrow, we're going to really go live by hooking up your custom domain to the site and make sure it's authenticated for both website and email sending. See you tomorrow.